Welcome to No Huntsville Presents Alex Tries, the show where I get to go around trying all the coolest things Huntsville has to offer. Today I am wine and whiskey tasting with Ashley Riles from Homegrown Huntsville. We are getting ready for Crush Wine Fest.
We have over 150 wines from all over the world. You know, until someone cuts you off, you're free to noted significant other.
We're on to the next booze. We've got whiskey. Whiskey is my arch nemesis. I had a lot of years in college where I got real sloppy off whiskey, and now if I smell anything that smells like cinnamon, I think it's Fireball and I vomit immediately. So that has ruined Big Red. It has ruined many candles. I'm not gonna lie, I'm afraid for myself tonight, but we're gonna do it. And Daniela is here with me behind the camera. It's gonna be great. She's gonna taste some whiskeys when I'm like, I can't, but also I think these are good whiskeys and not dollar Fireball shots from Jefferson Street Pub. Shop local. I thought that whiskey was a nightmare, but I think that maybe it just has a bad rap. So I have some very capable people here to teach me what whiskey really is and how to drink it while meaning to.
We're really excited to be introducing whiskey to the Crush lineup this year. It's pretty. We've been having a lot of people ask for it for several years now, so we're excited to introduce it. I'm a beginner as well, so hopefully Jeremy
teach us together.
Yeah.
My name's Jeremy Concepcion. I'm the head bartender at The Bottle in downtown Huntsville, and I also run an alcohol education channel on YouTube called the Ethanol Review.
I keep telling Jeremy that I watch his show every Saturday, and he keeps being like gracious about it.
I'm very appreciative. It's a fledgling channel. It's only been a year, so.
The best was when you actually mentioned one of the tips.
Oh, yeah.
Acting like she knew, and then she's like, oh wait, I learned that from your show.
Let's get started.
So I guess a 101, whiskey is just fermented grain mash, and then you distill that and you usually age it in wood, and that's the 101 of it. So what I mean by mash, so imagine you have all these grains. Let's say you've got a bunch of barley. You're going to steep it in a certain temperature of water for a certain amount of time, and then you strain it out, and that's your wort if you're brewing beer, or it's your wash if you're distilling. So it's like a grain tea, right, that has alcohol. Well, not yet. You get the grain tea, and then you're going to ferment it, get it to around 8% alcohol, and then you distill it, and you put it in barrels, and that's whiskey. That's the general whiskey, which is a very big umbrella. Whiskey has many, many subcategories, and we have 3 different kinds we're going to taste today. We'll try to do it kind of lightest to heaviest. This is an Irish whiskey, Tullamore Dew, that is an excellent alternative to like Jameson, for example. Irish whiskey, made in Ireland, of course. Usually it's pot distilled.
Now, do you still swirl it like wine?
So whereas wine, you want a bit of oxygen to open up certain characteristics. That doesn't really do much for whiskey, but it is good to coat the glass so you can get the fullness of the aroma. So Irish whiskey tends...
Pears?
But that was the last segment.
Oh man, I learned one line. One line for this show.
Apples? No.
Irish whiskey tends to be on the lighter side of the spectrum.
Okay, I'm gonna hold my glass like you, so I look cool.
It's distilled multiple times. So I think Tullamore Dew is 3 times. Yeah, triple distilled. The more you distill something, you're stripping away some of the heavier characteristics and compounds in it.
That's nice.
So this drink's a bit lighter than, say, its cousin Scotch.
I feel like Ron Swanson.
I usually get, well, in a lot of whiskey, but in this one in particular, I get a bit of like gingerbread and like brown sugar.
I do taste that. I can handle this.
Irish whiskey is very palatable. One tip is when you first approach it, tiny little sip. And you're just kind of introducing yourself to it, kind of wetting your palate. Because the alcohol is going to cover up all of the nuance of the spirit.
Another cool point that we're doing, you know, with the festival on Friday. So we're introducing whiskey and wild game this year. And we have that food component. So every tent will have the Scotch tent, the whiskey tent, the bourbon tent, and we have a chef coming in from San Diego, which he's actually born and raised here in Huntsville, Johnny Dolan. Him and then the chef at Purveyor, Chef Renee Boiseau, they're going to be partnering up together and doing pairings with each of the tents. I know there's a huge element to when you're tasting whiskey and being able to taste it, then taste the food, and then taste the drink as well, and seeing how the flavors complement each other.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be a really cool
That's
experience.
so awesome.
Yeah.
So is that going to be every night at the event?
Just Friday night. That's going to be Friday night in the park. Our big nights are Friday and Saturday. So Friday's the whiskey and wild game. And then Saturday is our signature Crush Wine and Food Festival.
But then also there's a whiskey paired dinner.
Yes.
On Thursday,
Yes.
which I'm very excited about.
So we've been doing the winemaker and chef dinners for 3 years now under the Crush umbrella. Because we're incorporating whiskey this year, we were like, well, that's only right to incorporate it for the dinners as well. So you will have your option of either pairing your courses with wine or whiskey. So we have a winemaker coming in from California to do the wine portion, and then we have a distiller coming in to do the whiskey portion.
I think that's so smart because it hits so many demographics of people.
Yeah, and like you
So
could go
smart.
as a date night, and your
Yes.
husband can do the whiskey and you can do the wine.
That's what
and-
I'm doing.
yeah.
You said that in the press conference, and I was like, "That's genius! I'm sold." I'm gonna call Daniela in to taste this. A whiskey girl.
Studying all the tricks.
You poured her
So
own. I was
gonna-
going to
I know, we were
mine.
Yeah, I'll just
Yeah, we may need
Like,
a
I'll
dump
take
glass.
both of them.
Mo.
When your palate's not used to drinking a spirit neat, which is what we call this, it's neat, it's all alone without dilution, it can be a bit challenging at first to get through the alcohol. Do you get anything nice on the palate? Anything beyond the heat?
I mean, it's real smooth. Like I feel
It was
like
very
I
smooth.
could-
Yeah.
And this one I'm getting a lot of vanilla on the palate and like custard. And these are barrel characteristics.
Daniela's face right now. Let me recreate it. She went. It was like amazement and then pure joy.
Totally more
Yeah,
dew
it
very
is really
good.
good.
Can I have my glass back?
I'm moving.
It's been stolen.
Cheers. Take a shot like a DZ can. I'm gonna
Don't
be
judge
honest.
us. We're
When I
learning.
drink whiskey, I feel like I can do woodworking. I feel like I can track bears for fun.
Yeah.
I feel like I could do anything if I could just keep this down.
It's better than the whiskey you probably drink in college.
Without a shadow of a doubt, I don't think that was real alcohol.
Well, the surprise is out. I'm Alex Hendrix with No Huntsville Presents Alex Tries, and I am on location in downtown Huntsville thanks to one of our first sponsors, DHI, an amazing organization. I've done so much work with them in the past, and they have so many cool things planned for this community and the downtown Huntsville area in general. There's coffee, there's wine, there's shopping, there's music. Well, this is a flower shop. This is flowers. But there's music. Everywhere you look, there's magic.
All right, I'm ready for the next one. It looks
Okay.
darker. Is that scary to me?
Yeah.
Yes.
The hue of it can be influenced by a lot of things, but mainly it's the barrel. So this is probably an
I'm not scared
indicator
anymore.
that this has spent more time in a barrel than these spirits are. Yeah. So the next one is Clyde May's Alabama style whiskey.
What makes it Alabama style?
So it has to do with adding apple into the barrel.
We love
I think
apples.
towards the finishing part of the process. And these guys are about to build a new distillery in Troy, Alabama, actually.
Oh,
and it's
nice.
going to
Wow.
become the spirit of Alabama, or maybe it already is. It already is. So yeah, Alabama style whiskey.
Oh, I smell the apple very.
The apple is very
Yeah.
distinct.
And we are going to have all of
great.
these at the festival as well. So, and I think it's really cool that we have that local spin with some different spirits that we'll have there. You'll see that. I think we have some Chattanooga whiskeys coming
yeah.
in as well.
They've got some great whiskeys in Chattanooga.
Gotta stay true to the homegrown name.
Let me just add that normally between spirits, you would want some water and like a bland food, like a water cracker or bread
Or a gnocchi.
just or a gnocchi. Something in between because it's of the intensity of it. But I mean, it's fine. You know, we're not judging right now. We're just
Right.
kind of going through
We
it.
don't need a
But
palate
just
cleanser.
when you go to the festival,
For the love of God, eat a cracker.
don't just do 20 shots in a row.
Please don't do that. Yeah. Definitely smell the apples.
A lot of apple,
Yeah.
which in a lot of whiskeys there's apple found in the esters of the oak. So oak is always involved in this whiskey process, and one of the compounds within the oak is an aroma that smells and tastes like apple. Cherry, you'll get cherry sometimes. You get peach sometimes. Wow, I bet you all like that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really good.
I do.
There's a sweetness,
Yes.
really approachable, low burn, lots of apple. So of the two, what do you think? I mean, they're very different, as you can see.
I like this how this has a sweet finish. It's just
Yeah.
easier to kind of sip on.
Yeah.
It's easier.
Yeah.
It's easier.
This flavor is better for me. This was just smoother all around, though.
Yeah.
This has a little bite at the end.
For me personally, the Tullamore Dew has a bit more depth. There's a bit more to discover, and this is just much more approachable.
This is giving me so much more confidence with wanting to try more whiskeys.
That's right.
It's a huge, the spectrum of possible flavor is endless.
So one thing we've always said with the wine festival portion of it was whether you like wine or not, this is a great opportunity to come and learn. I feel like the same applies with our whiskey night.
Absolutely.
Because I
Yeah.
didn't think I was a whiskey person, and I'm just on our second one, and I'm just realizing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to
Yeah.
try. There's an exposure
Yeah.
element. You know, you can't
Right.
just.
And a
Usually, we'll have
knowledge
one bad
component.
experience. Like, think about gin. Like, gin has a terrible reputation because we all got sick on gin. You know, at some point. And really, gin is many, many things, just like whiskey is.
My one bad experience was 2014.
September.
No, the entire year.
It was raining outside.
It was the entire year.
Oh gosh.
I'm excited to taste this one.
Yeah, I've heard.
It is the tallest, which means it's
I have seen this in our bourbon cabinet, our whiskey, our cabinets at home. So I'm assuming
specifically bourbon.
well, yes, we do. My husband does, yes.
So this is High West Distillery. They're out of Utah, and this is their double rye. Rye whiskey. It isn't drank neat often. It has a certain intensity to it.
So you would do this like with some ice, maybe.
Yeah, or maybe a smidge of water. Yeah, or a big cube, or I mean, but it really depends on the
Emotional
drinker.
baggage.
Yeah, splash of that. To me, rye, especially this particular rye, which I'm very familiar with, is like cowboy whiskey because it's got punch, it's got grit, it's got a little.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
You'll see.
I'm feared. All right.
Do we say
Cheers, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
So one thing about rye whiskey is
Oh, it smells nice.
of the grain bill, which the grain bill, you could call that basically the recipe or the mash bill, whatever you want to say. 51% of it has to be rye, but it usually has a bit more of a bite than, especially compared to these guys, which are much softer whiskeys.
This is the one I smell vanilla in the most.
Oh, there's absolutely vanilla. Oh yeah, for sure.
Killed it.
Vanilla and a little baking
Every time
spice.
I go out a limb, I am right. I want you guys to follow your dreams.
Well, yeah, intuitive.
Follow your instincts.
Follow instincts, not dreams. This is
listen
not
to
my
yours.
dream. Let's be clear.
Apples and vanilla, I feel like are a common theme.
Definitely in whiskey. Definitely.
Cowboy.
So you feel the heat, you feel a bit
Yep.
more punch, which is it's
Hits
good.
you in the uvula.
Yes. I mean, you can see it's such a range, and these are only 3 different styles.
Daniela?
I'm ready.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I feel like this
Do
is
you want
really
to take yours too now?
Here's the thing. Have you ever listened to the Toby Keith song, Should Have Been a Cowboy? Don't do it anymore. Just drink this.
Yeah, very cowboy.
It is
all you
cowboy
need.
rye. It
There's
is.
a horseshoe on the back.
Oh.
Oh, well, there you go.
That is
So that's-
literally
that's-
branded. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm gonna go back to my
You hide your wine glass back
I
there.
was afraid someone would drink it. This has been a magical journey. I know everything now. I can't think of a single thing I don't know about whiskey. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I was going to say that myself.
Yeah.
Between tonight and watching his videos, I would borderline expert at this point.
May I highly recommend Jeremy's videos. He will teach you everything, and you will just watch and be like, this is the coolest thing that I never thought to drink, but now I will. And so now I'm going to go harass people at local bars into making me these fancy schmancy drinks that Jeremy has taught me that I need. Come to Crush Wine Fest, use discount code ALEX at checkout for $10 off your tickets. Don't use any other code, you only need code ALEX. And come hang out with me at all these events because I will be at all of them. I'm a lush.